We had a question about whether we could do something about the role the BBC has more or less assigned to itself as an enforcer of these orthodoxies and someone who, an organisation that doesn't often give heretics an opportunity to appear. And one thing you've done since your experience is you've begun broadcasting on talk radio, on GB News, and one way of trying to get the BBC to be a bit more impartial and not take sides on these issues is to challenge them, not internally, but with other competing broadcasting organisations. How successful do you think they've been? I mean, do you feel that you have been given a voice and given an opportunity to articulate another heretical point of view, or do you feel pretty marginalised being on things like GB News and talk radio?
I speak to lots of people all the time who've seen me on GB News or listened to me on talk radio. Obviously, the numbers aren't the same as the BBC, but the BBC is a good example of what you can do as an individual when you say no. So what do? You cancel your licence fee. And that's what you need to do. What we keep talking about is what can someone else do for us? What can that organisation do to make us safer or to protect our freedom of speech? And the answer is hardly anything. The person who can do it is you. And when I use the word cowardice, I've thought about this one. I just wrote a book on cowardice, comes out in November. And I use the word meaningfully. I thought about this. It is cowardice. It isn't being afraid. Nothing wrong in being afraid. That gets you going. That makes sure you look out for danger. Cowardice is when you're afraid and you know what you should do, but yet you still don't do it. That's cowardice. Freedom is not free. People have to pay for freedom, and they pay for it with their lives, with their blood, and they pay for it with being uncomfortable. And that's what you all need to do. You need to look at your lives. You need to look at the decisions you make. And you need to say to yourself, somebody talks about HR sending them on to a CRT course. Well, of course, I don't want you losing your job over that. I don't want martyrs falling on your sword over one incident. But what you can do, you can phone in sick that day and not take it. What you can do is if you're an England football supporter and you go to the England games and you boo them taking the knee, well, you've booed. How about you don't go? But what we're looking for all the time is something that's not going to impact us and make us uncomfortable. So I'll go along with this and I'll complain and moan about it, but I'm not going to do something that will affect me a little bit negatively. That's where it needs to change, otherwise nothing else will change.